welcome back to Broad's League Heroes. In the top right, it is... Those look like chairs. So his name is Chair. Wait. Nobody saw that. Who voted for this? So Mr. The Chairman. There you go. Chairman. And in the bottom right, it is Psyence. Chairman versus Psyence on Neon Violet Square. One of the largest maps, the most defensible, the most capable of shenanigans. But Protoss versus Terran, we do have a probe scout coming out. No wall for Chairman. Either this means like something, or they intentionally... I don't know. I don't speak Korean, I just play StarCraft, which is close enough, right? But the probe is coming up. It'll get into the base, get a full scout. It looks like Chairman not worried about scouting himself as he continues to build depots all throughout his mineral line. Just using that space very efficiently. Kicking things off with a reactor. No units for him right off the bat. A cybernetics core. There's already a preemptive pylon on the low ground. I'm not entirely sure what's going to be built here, but it looks like he's very intent on building something here. As I see, he just left. Okay, that's fine. That's also fine. But a probe on its way towards the gold. Is it time for a gold nexus? Is he a gold digger? As he finds himself. No, he's just chilling there with the probe. Okay. I got really excited for about 1.8 seconds, and then all downhill from there. A factory in the main. Chairman has gotten vision. Now we'll be finally exploring the expanse that is his ramp, but otherwise he is blind to the world, and he has no concern for science. But he does have 150 APM. We're just not sure what it's being used for. A shield battery at the front. There is a proxy pylon. Is he going to use it? The drama. The suspense. The preparation. The tension. He has the money. He could place a Stargate here at any time. But he doesn't. That's a gate. Chairman still just building up Marines. He's got tanks, a starport with a tech lab, the classic Terran, the Destiny Cloud Fist build, the 1-1-1. It does actually look like Psyence does want to attack into him here with this. An expansion on the way for Chairman. Is he actually going to move out, or has he decided he's expanded to the low ground? He has expanded his horizons, and it's far too dangerous to go any further. Psyence is far too scary, and he rejects it. What? Okay. These SCVs sent to worship the tank and make it feel better about itself. Doing a pretty great job so far. One probe comes up. And explodes in celebratory confetti. On the way. Does Psyence see this? No, just barely. The attack moving past the proxy pylon. The tank will have to go around the squares. The Marines can go straight through. An observer will observe this attack. Observe this attack coming across. 4 stalkers. Counterattack. Usually not the most fearsome of attacks. But in this scenario, there are only 2 Marines to stop them. We're going into a 5-minute base trade, it looks like. The depot under fire. The command center will complete, but on the other side, the stalkers are being warped in, but they're taking too long. Hurry up, the shield battery comes up just in time. A single immortal gonna help out. Quickly being drained of energy is the shield battery. Tries to target down the immortal. What? Things are just exploding on either side. The immortal also gonna burst into confetti-based explosion, whatever. It's gone. It's dead. He's dead. There's nothing on the other side, but the stalkers are in the main. A liberator siege is up, but a liberator can't chase down these stalkers because the stalkers have legs. A recall out, but how many will escape? 2 of the stalkers back home, but from the fire into the flames as they're blasted by the tanks that already siege. Psyence will be losing his expansion while Chairman works his way through. He's defended. He's not really mining right now. He's got a grand total of 0 mineral income, but he's knocking on the front door, and pretty soon he's going to be knocking it down. I have the best words. The SCVs finally go back to work. The expansion, no orbital here yet, but he's taken out the Nexus. He proceeds to put his bunkers up as well. Psyence holds the high ground, the last bastion of Protoss. As Chairman closes in, he's ahead on supply. He's got a great position. There's no way to escape. Well, he could warp in on the other side, but otherwise. The bunkers are loaded up. The SCVs and tanks stand by. The observer sees all of this, but he can't do anything about it. The medevacs trying to get in vision of the high ground. There is a single Marine in that medevac. He's coming down the ramp into the bunkers. There are SCVs to repair. He's going for the tanks. That puts him in the crosshairs of both bunkers. The second tank will be unsieged. Wait, will he be able to pick it up in time? No. The bunkers take a lot of hits. The tanks did fall, but there are still Marines on the deck. Still in range of one of these bunkers. One of the Immortals pops into confetti. The other one retreats up the ramp with a single Stalker. Psyence does most of the work to breaking out, but doesn't complete the task as of yet. Warping some more Stalkers, another Immortal. That should finish the job. Well, this SCV going to work. Will he try to target it down? The SCV doing a relatively negligible amount of repair. Even some salvage micro coming out. Another Stalker going to be finished. But Psyence has prevailed. And Chairman has to go back, where he won't be too unhappy with what he has at home. Still only 3 production facilities.
Your dedication will be rewarded.
But Banshee's on the way. 3 bases, over 30 more supply. Psyence has suffered a blow, but with careful usage of his units and a smart economic plan, there's always the chance for a comeback. But right now, our Terran hero seems to be in a commanding position. The observer will come up and observe exactly how bad the situation is here for Psyence. Tanks, expansions, goes directly into surveillance mode right over his head. There is no detection on the bright side. The one thing for Chairman is a lack of production. He's got a lot of money coming in, but he just can't spend it. It looks like the Industrial Revolution will change all that as factories spring up in the main. Additional production. Psyence has the opposite problem. He has the gateways, he has a robo, he has tech, but he just doesn't have the minerals or gas to spend. A single Banshee on even checking for the gold base, checking for hidden bases. Chairman crossing his T's, dotting his I's, and pushing in his chairs. We'll actually potentially be able to scout the Dark Shrine on the way. The Desperation Templar trying to sneak in anywhere there's no detection, but this Banshee could ruin all his plans. He's not there yet. 96 to 49 supply. Chairman actually spending his money quite well. The worker count, 49, 52 SCVs to just 30 probes. A medevac drop goes out. There is no stim or combat shield. For the Marines, he's going for mech. I like this. Psyence says, well, I've got myself dug into a hole here. I'm gonna have to dig for gold to get out of it. And if he's able to mine from the gold base for long enough, that income can swing back the other way. A gold base, for those that don't know, allows you to get 40% more income for the same amount of probes. So essentially, you can mine more with less, which is the basic economic principle of getting more money. Medevac drops on both sides. Chairman not willing to risk his army, but instead just sending out groups of Marines, which may be one way that Psyence actually... Oh, the dual prong here. A Banshee in the main and the attack at the front. It looks like he will pick up the medevac and dip out, but this is one way. If Psyence deals with these well, he's given enough time, then maybe he can come back. Some more Marines in the corner. The Banshee picked up a grand total of 0 kills. The probes were transferred to the second base. A turret has taken out the observer on the opposite side. Psyence is in the Dark Ages. Five bases for Chairman. He's done his early damage, and when you're ahead, a great man once said, get more ahead. Five bases. Now, this is a standard Terran play. Very reluctant to actually attack and end the game with these siege tanks. Instead, much more comfortable sitting back, having them all sieged up with planetary fortresses, and enjoying their very comfortable position. Also known as playing like a bitch. But Chairman up to 130 supply, but Psyence is working his way back in. He's got the gold base on the way. He actually has more mineral income as of now. Some Archons are combining their energies, or whatever they do. Another base on the way, and the build-up phase continues. Psyence, rightly knowing that he has no hope of attacking his opponent. He already saw the tanks, the sieged up position. Chairman, on the other hand, taking his sweet, sweet time, and now ours too. Now, it's not a guarantee. There are several immortals on the field. Dark Templar are always a curveball. But the longer Chairman waits, the gap closes as Psyence uses all this income. And if both players are maxed out, it's not always the greatest thing to have mass siege tanks, as Immortals and Charge Lots and Archons can close the distance. And once they close the distance, the siege tanks hurt themselves more than they hurt the enemy. More Immortals on the way. The gateway is opening up. Chairman, 3 tanks at a time, almost nothing else. A handful of Marines. He's sticking by the Marine tank, but the Marine upgrades are lacking in that they have none. He's going for +1 mech weapons, but nothing else. 1-1 is on the way for Psyence here. And now it's anybody's guess when the next fight will actually happen. Chairman seems very comfortable. He's got multiple planetary bunkers. The more it looks like a campaign mission, the happier he is. Whereas on the other side, Psyence adapting pretty well to the situation. Unfortunately, this Banshee could be dangerous. We'll get a few probes here. Templar Archives. He actually can't hit the Banshee from this angle. Warping some more. A drop coming in. But the supply gap is closing. Chairman banking up a lot of resources for the winter in order to feed his people. Whereas Psyence is spending every last mineral, because in StarCraft, saving up money is almost always a bad thing. Science will prevail when it comes to good economic strategy. But these multi-pronged drops and attacks, there's a drop in the back, there's a drop on the right, there's a drop on the left, there's more drops than the Skrillex album. As right now, well, unfortunately, they only have a handful of unupgraded Marines, and unfortunately, all they're really hitting on either side are assimilators, but it's the thought that counts. Another assimilator will be taken out. Resistance is futile. A lot of siege tanks, a planetary fortress, a liberator, bunkers. How many tanks? 20 tanks. 20 tanks. Disgusting. These drops still not being dealt with. One sentry comes up. The Marines did not order a tickle massage and will gun it down in cold blood. The double rocks will be the next object of wrath. Two Marines drop into the main. They are engaging the Dark Shrine. One Dark Templar will be here soon in order to end their dreams. But the attack in the front, Immortals and Archons, Liberators and tanks and bunkers, oh my! But they are falling. The Immortal cannons blasting through the planetary. It will fall. He makes headway. He pushes through the defense, penetrates the front lines. But it wasn't quite enough. The Dark Templar slices through the Marines, defending its home shrine. But we have to ask ourselves the question. At what cost? There are 24 tanks on the field. 24! I don't know if I've ever seen that many tanks. And they're spread, tanks upon tanks upon tanks. Ugh. There is still a medevac in the main. A cannon being built. Psyence continues to expand throughout the map. The upgrades, +1, +1 on the tanks, +2, +1 for our protons. $58 to 50 non-workers. The supplies, what has happened? The supplies are even. Chairman has 7,000 minerals and 6,500 gas in the bank. Another assimilator will be mercilessly gunned down. Mercilessly. Wait, he got the cancel just in time. And then the Marine drop will be obliterated by the overwhelming power of the Archons and Stalkers. You always wonder, whenever confetti falls down at like a rally or when someone wins a championship or something like that with all the confetti, how annoying is that to clean up? Because it depends, like, there's probably, like, usually it's in a stadium or something, there's a bunch of, like, sticky, fat-fingered beer and Coke everywhere. I guess they got people for that, but I imagine it's pretty disgusting if you don't clean it up real quick. Anyways, not important. We've got another attack into the front. Psyence now in the supply lead. No charge on these zealots. They will walk their way up to the planetary, and the planetary will fall. He does not have building armor, but there are still a couple dozen tanks to get through. The splash damage, more damaging than a tsunami as he's working his way up to the front, but the tank line runs so deep. An observer taken down. More tanks falling. The shields are down on almost the entire army. The zealots are gone. The Archons are gone. The orbital targeted down, but the Immortals are going to be the next casualties. Stalkers will stalk no longer. Immortals no longer living up to their name. The tank line is holding. Another round of zealots to the front. Once again, they do not have charge. They can't close the distance. He holds. I don't know what happened here. This Marine has a kill. There are still 10 tanks on the field. I don't know if he knows. He's got to. These zealots got to have their Yeezys, all right? Otherwise, they're just not motivated to charge into the fight. So, he went deep. He cut deeper this time, but just not deep enough. This is the Marianas Trench. That's how you say it, right? Of tank lines here. Deeper than anything we've seen before. Bunkers and planetaries, and many zealots were harmed in the making of this production. Another trickle of zealots comes in, drowned by the flood of siege tank shells. Six more tanks in production. Half a dozen factories. And it appears Chairman's strategy continues to pay off. He's playing the long con. But he's decided, oh my god. That's a lot of tanks. And now, Chairman is up in supply. He has money in the bank. He's getting high-sec auto-tracking to upgrade the range of those turrets. And of course, followed up by building armor. The tanks are on the move. They're taking the long road here. Driving all the way around the top. He knows about this base. Another Marine is scouting around. These bases are mined out. But tanks out on the open field, still no charge. So, The Zealot walked into the bar, caught the eye of one of the patrons at the bar, bought him a drink. And then the guy said, well, thank you. That's very gracious of you. Why did you buy me a drink? And the Zealot said, wait. There's more. I'll come home with you tonight, if you're interested. And then the guy says, how much? Because obviously this is too good to be true. But Psyence replied to him, oh, don't worry. It's free of charge. I have no regrets. And neither do these zealots. As they walk their way in, another planetary falls out. As the tank shell another base. A base trade. A massive tank line. Both players losing one of their outlying bases. Chairman not building anything, despite the money in the bank. He still has several tanks back at home. Not the greatest upgrades, but are they great enough? The high ground is occupied. There are still 16 tanks committed in the top rank. It was worth it, okay? I had it in my head. Doesn't always come together. It was the Bronze League of jokes. Okay, you got a very small idea of where you want to go, and then you start working your way there, and you panic, and everything just goes downhill. I was just trying to get in that mindset, and charge is almost done. 5 seconds out. He will attack in seconds before, allowing him to take some extra tank fire. Jesus, that's a lot of tanks. He's making 6 more tanks at a time. The supplies. Oh. But the charge lots can close the distance unless they all go into a tiny corner, and the planetary with building armor and high-sec auto-tracking is able to hit them, in which case it's not actually a good thing. The planetary will go down, but at what cost? Psyence has lost almost twice as many resources in this match. Another one. Bases falling left and right, literally left and right, but another round of tanks from Chairman as the siege continues forward. The shock cannons almost one-shotting a gateway. That is a very tank gateway. Another planetary being targeted, but it does have the armor. The rest of the units working their way down. The tanks finally, after several months in the field, will come home. ready for another deployment. You gotta refuel them, everybody knows that. Psyence only has 94 supply. He's actually spending all his money, and he decides, you know what I need? Sentries. Sentries are definitely the counter. My little tickle balloons here, definitely the counter to mass siege tank. I've done the math. This base is almost an... Oh my god, that's so loud. The sentries, you know, I think the confetti is actually... Oh my god. There are 33 tanks! 33! And he's not even close to maxed! There are just tank lines everywhere. A single Void Ray could win the game on its own. But there is just no Stargate. Everyone knows once you've invested in the Robo, you're not allowed to build a Stargate. But 2 Dark Templars slip past the tank line. Oh! 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 Yep, splash damage works well. That's the splash zone.
Your dedication will be rewarded.
One Marine will rack up the probe kills. There's actually... Chairman is... He has 10 SCVs. He has less than he started with. He still has money in the bank. We're not worried about that yet. Psyence is expanding everywhere else. SCVs are now going to long distance mine from the gold base? No, wait. Where are they going? Where are you going? What? Three Stargates on the way. Stargate Command is in production. Finally. Oh my god. He's literally lined his base with tanks. Most of the time, that would be hyperbole. No, his base is literally lined with tanks. Of the 30 tanks, about half of them are there. There's still money in the bank. Psyence actually doesn't really have much income. He's building more Stargates than he can afford. He's mined out of most of his bases. He's still got a few probes. You must siege up to make sure the Nexus can't escape. At the top right, the SCV's congregating. Chairman has money in the bank. He has an armory. What is it time to build? 6 Thors! And you know, Void Rays are pretty good, but not that good. What an incredible... Of all times to figure out what a Thor is, the most fortuitous timing. As both these players... At one point, there were 10 or 12 bases on the map. They had expanded almost over the entire map, but both of them dealing heavy blows. We're not sure what the plan is here. A scan. He sees the Void Rays. The beautiful, beautiful Purifier Void Rays. What will the tanks do? The tanks scramble into retreat. Not sure what the plan is with this base. He's got the refineries, but those are not auto refineries. Unfortunately. Supply depots are dropped. He's gone up to... He just dropped supply depots! I gotta go back. This... Okay. Wait. Wait for it. Wait for the drop, baby. The Thors have a traffic... Whoa. Okay. I thought he did it on all his depots at once, and it was really intense. Oh! And now he can go up to 200 supply. Three Void Rays. Nothing... Okay, nothing says tactics. He begins. Now here's Chairman's plan. He's just next level. He begins long distance mining from the middle right. Builds a command center in the top right. Builds refineries at the gold, and then lands that command center in the middle right base. He's just so many steps ahead of any of us. We can't ever pretend to understand how far, just the level of thinking, just out of this world. And then moves it to the gold base. The 3-step plan. As the Thors could move forward, this might be Chairman's moment to strike towards victory. Right, a command center is landed, and then he builds. The gold base has been acquired. 3 more command centers on the way. Chairman's army waiting for its moment. Waiting very, 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 very patiently for its moment. In fact, Chairman had 0 APM there for a second as he consulted his Prima strategy guide for the next best move. We're on the Chairman Action Cam. Brought to you by Nutella. I don't know why. Anyways. The Mule Hammer drops. And now, Psyence for a second there at 0 APM. The Observer trying to come up. A beautiful Observer micro. The Sky Toss fleet, as Psyence is draining the map of money. He's running out. Interceptors cost cash, remember. He only has access to... There's 45 more minerals here. There's a couple... 1,400 here. That's... Whereas there's 4 orbitals on the other side. So... Once again, we're at a lull in the action. Between all the bases being traded out, Chairman has re-expanded, but he's exhausted his bank. There are carriers on the field, and carriers have been known to cause issues. Plus 2 air weapons on the way. 1 tank and 1 turret will hold the command post, while the rest of the army decides this is no longer the place to be. There are probes waiting for their moment in the corners, but he keeps spending all his money on carriers and interceptors and therefore cannot continue to expand. Chairman has maxed out. The Mule, oh my god. He has a bit of an advantage when it comes to mineral income. As well. He's gonna continue on that road. Just listen to them mine. As they grind through those minerals there. But, I mean, he has carriers and void race. I'm hesitant to count him out. He doesn't have graviton catapults, so the interceptors will be launching 1 at a time. Honestly, against Thors, that isn't necessarily a bad thing. The army of Chairman. 12 Thors, 41 SCVs, and yes, I count them, and 29 siege tanks. The army of Psyence. 5 carriers, 3 stalkers, a warp prism, 6 void rays, a sentry, and a high templar. It doesn't have storm. Psyence continues to expand. Of course, the bottom left, a juicy target. But now what? Chairman, it looked like he was on the brink of defeat. He had retreated to his main. He had lost all his planetaries. He didn't have an answer. But now Psyence is out of money. Chairman, he only seems to move when provoked. So will Psyence be the next one to provoke? As the banks tell a story. A dramatic one at that. 7,000 minerals. 6,000. 300 gas. against 300 minerals and 3,200 gas. What is this? He recalls the probes. What a tactical move. This is nothing in production. Nobody is producing, but Psyence now has income. The tanks, with their ritual prayer to the orbital command, and then will turn their cannons outwards, and then unsiege again. And then go back to the orbital, and then siege. As is the morning routine. The Thors will come in for their part in the parade. Alright, it's over. It's on. It's done. We're done. Two carriers on the way. Neither player... There has not been a unit lost for the last 5 or 6... There's a tank. This tank. Very stealthy. There are stealthy tanks all around the map. There's a tank over here, right near the billboard. Now, the light from the billboard will get in the eyes of the Protoss, who have very sensitive eyes. Think about it. Because they don't have mouths. Don't think too hard. But the light from the billboard will distract the Protoss, and they won't be able to see the siege tank until it's too late. Over here, the Protoss will be distracted by the Gentleman's Club, I have to assume. And they won't be able to see the siege tank before it's too late.
Field's been mined out. Hope you have an expansion.
Psyence, we have learned, is using the Diva announcer. Let's just take a look at Chairman's choice. If he has... He now has 13,800 minerals, 900, 10,000. He could buy most third world countries for less than this. Well, I guess in the Kapua sector will be planets. The turret tank outpost. Let's go back. Chairman will lift his command center and then move it further back. For unknown reasons. But he's decided to rearrange, do some redecorate. So, the forward canary in the coal mine here. The tank and the turret obliterated by the armada. Plus 3 Protoss air weapons and plus 3 shields are on the way. Only 1-1 has completed for Chairman. Psyence slowly works his way up in supply. Another carrier. 2 more carriers in production. The bottom left base. Are we going to mine out Neon Violet Square? Is this going to happen? The tanks on the move. Plenty of Thors, plenty of tanks. The entire mechanical army is put together. The tanks will siege. The vast majority of 28 tanks are here. Now that is a tank line. I believe the Thors are locked in. There is no way for those Thors to get past. They're caught between the squares and the tanks. Well, actually, they might be able to move out there, but... Psyence is approaching 200 supply. Chairman has given him time and space in his graciousness and generosity. He has 21,400 minerals, 14,000 gas. He has a maxed out army for the last 20 minutes, and he has not moved a muscle. The Thors, he opens up the tank line so Thors can escape. The army, there are now 16 carriers, which is just far too many carriers. And I mean, after all this, after this drama, after so many resources lost by Psyence, I honestly can't see these carriers losing. But this is Bronze League Heroes, where not everyone has to be bronze. They just have to embody the essence of a Bronze League hero, and it doesn't matter if you're bronze, you're silver, you're grandmaster, or you've never played a game of StarCraft in your life. All you have to do is be a hero. And now Psyence moves out. He's somehow survived to fight to this position. There are 3 more factories on the way for Chairman. But Thors can't fly. That's in the next patch. The Interceptor Swarm, 136 Interceptors. Thors, whoa, we're going for a base trade. Chairman, despite all the money in the bank, is he realizing, he's finally realizing maybe his chance towards victory, but he'll never be able to spend his money. It'll all mean nothing, but still, how do you beat this many carriers? Does he recall? Does he recall? Okay, we're based, this is, well, it's got a lot more interesting. There's only so many buildings on the map. It comes down to the recall. And if he recalls back, Chairman might have the chance to actually build anti-air. More factories on the way. The carriers working their way through. There are still more bases. The army will be recalled to this base, and the entire Terran army will die. Okay, well, that got a lot less interesting very quickly. He tried to take out the Nexus, which would cancel the recall. But the right move out of Psyence will put him in a comfortable position. But Chairman is now building 9 Thors at a time. He's going to have, well, 12. With 9 more, he's going to have 20 plus Thors. And the carrier fleet, he's building 12 Thors. This is madness. No. This is StarCraft. The Void Rays will burn through the planetary. But valuable time has been afforded to Chairman, who now has 9 SCVs, but 21 Thors and counting. Some of them are stuck. Unfortunately, he's built them behind the mineral patches that are almost completely drained. These Thors are now... I mean, there's not really any detection, which could pose an issue. Oh my god, so many interceptors are dying. The Javelin missiles. Oh, it's 4th of July! The turrets are coming up for detection. So many interceptors. He's down to 30! The Thors! They're shooting down all the interceptors! He's losing them all before they can actually fire! The Thors have the armor! They're on top of everything! The interceptors are mostly gone! There's still 15 Thors on the field! He scans! And Chairman holds! So many interceptors died! He's actually on the chase! The Thors will work their way out! And he holds! With money in the bank and 10 more Thors in the mail! Bootleg fireworks! Alright, somebody get the water! 17 interceptors and 10 Thors in production. One of these is not like the others. This Thor is trapped in a prison of his own design. There are 24 Thors on the field right now. With 8 more, he's gonna have 32. The carriers, the interceptors just all die. They're swatted out of the sky like flies. Okay, so this is happening. The Thor is trying to beat through the tech lab, but the SCVs are repairing it in a struggle. Okay, the rest of the Thors turn to look at what's happening over there. The 198, the Fist of Chairman.
Your dedication. will be
190. He has 2 SCVs. Those were his only 2 SCVs. His army is 32 Thors and 2 SCVs with 1 more Thor in the mail. On the other side, Psyence has 21 carriers, a handful of anything else, and a mothership. With 168 interceptors. They don't even fit on the screen. The interceptors. The Thors. Does he go forward or does he go back? The main. His last command centers. The Thors are trying to work their way up the ramp. They didn't plan for this in the city planning phase. But oh, so many interceptors dying! The scans! He's trying to work his way up. He's actually trying to target the carriers, for better or for worse. Some in the back, more interceptors falling. He's down under 100. He's down to 75. The Thor count, he's only killed 1 so far. A couple more starting to fall. The interceptor count is dropping. Less than half the Thors have made it up the ramp. Chairman is now supply blocked. He's trying to target down. That may be his demise. The interceptors continue to explode, but they continue to be rebuilt. Down to 22 Thors. 10 have fallen thus far. Does he have a recall? Down goes a Void Ray. The mothership strained dangerously close. He's down to 26 interceptors. He might be able to target down the carriers. Each round of interceptors immediately being blown out of the sky. So he's trying to fight heads up, and the turrets are actually getting in on the action. The carriers themselves are being hit. Psyence is forced to retreat. The Thors are pushing him back. He's got 20. A recall. He loses 1 or 2 carriers. 1 left out in the cold. There are also stalkers that exist. But now this is it. Chairman is supply blocked. He's out of money. He has 0 SCVs. It's 20 Thors versus the world right now. That's it. But he can make another round. The Thors have to go. This is all he has. He has 2 command centers, but he can't build SCVs. He's infinitely supply blocked because he has too much supply. He can't build SCVs to build depots to get unsupply blocked. It's a chicken and the egg type of situation, but in reverse. Thors on their way. He has to win a fight. But Psyence is out of money. He can't build more interceptors because he's fucking broke. He's broke. He can't. If the interceptors go down, he literally can't afford to rebuild them. Every single last point of minerals. Every single one is being drawn into interceptor production. He's building 4 more carriers, but he can't afford them. All he has to do is kill 1 round of interceptors, and then Psyence is broke. He's got 1 mining base, which isn't enough to refill this army. Who wins? The buildings are on the move! They're flying across. Everything's on the table. All the cards, all the chips, all the Thors, all the minerals, all the interceptors. The Sky Toss fleet comes down. The Nexus will fall. That's his only income. The interceptor's being blasted out of the sky. Take a close look at the interceptor count. The carriers on the back. Every single one of these is precious. The Thor is just targeting them down. As long as the Thors don't try to target the carriers, he might have it. 75. He's going for the carriers. The javelin missiles coming out. The factories are scouting. The factories are distracting the interceptor fire. He's killing more. Psyence is out of money. He is broke. There are 50 interceptors on the field, but still 17 Thors. He dropped down the orbitals. The orbitals can be targeted down. The Thors are on the chase, but they just are not very fast. The carriers, not much faster. Psyence is long distance mining. Chairman is long past mining. 44 interceptors. He can't build anymore. He doesn't have income. He's mining 27 minerals a minute. That's not even enough for 2 interceptors. Minerals are drained across the map. Probes. He's still got 30 probes. He needs... Wait, where? There's no Nexi at bases that have minerals. He's long distance mining. Does Chairman have it? There are still 50 interceptors and no other units. Is this a... I mean, it's a base trade. These carriers are full. These carriers are empty. They're carrying nothing. They are empty vessels, just a shell. There are a few more turrets, but will they be much of a contest? He knows where the army is. The factories are with him. The factories are with him. Now, the mothership could change everything. There's another scan. Yes, yes, there are carriers there, but there's only so many interceptors. Every one is precious. He can't replace them. He's gonna get all the Nexi. That feel. Like, he cannot replace these interceptors that he's losing. 48. Well, it still comes down. If he kills all the buildings, he's going into high impact mode. Which it gives him more single target damage in the air. It does nothing on the ground. We're going, this is a full base trade. There's orbital commands, but the factories, 8 of them. He can't kill them. Eventually the Thors can rumble throughout the entire map. Chairman just adapting to the situation. The carrier's scouring for any other buildings. He knows the factories are with the Thors, but he knows there are command centers on the field as well. If they're gone, there's no hope of ever mining again. Psyence. He has probes, and he has... But it's a lot of the Thors at full HP. He's gonna find the last orbital. The building counter is quickly dropping. The last orbital. That sums up Chairman's strategy. There's one Nexus on the field. A cannon fights. The cannons will fight. If he killed that orbital and warped in 1DT, but that dream is gone. The carriers are actually going to come back. He's going to go for it. But can he... There's just not enough. The rocks. He's using the mothership. The carrier's coming out. The interceptor count is dropping. It's dropping. He can target. Will we retarget? 23 interceptors. That's it. Lights out. 15 There's less interceptors than Thors. Chairman has done it. That's victory. Without mining for the last 10 minutes with 12,000 minerals, 7,000 gas, 90 over 15 supply. He's up against 162 supply, but only 14 interceptors. 10, 9, 8, 7, 3, 2, none! 22 supply of 22 empty carriers. The least useful 140 army supply you will ever see in StarCraft. He now has no ability to attack. The carriers can do nothing. He right-clicks on the factories. He looks at them very angrily. But the carriers realized they're nothing without their friends. The interceptors are gone. Psyence could not hold up. Thors win the day. And Chairman, with an unorthodox but effective strategy, just outlet the war of attrition. And despite being up 45 supply, Psyence is forced to tap out because he can no longer do damage. Nearly 1 hour. I didn't know how that would end, but that is not what I expected. With the new Warcraft 3 update, have you thought about playing? I mean, I never really played Warcraft 3, so... Then again, I never really played Brood War.